Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. My name is Daniel Comm. Delighted tonight to be joined by Record Sports Michael Gannon. Mick, how's it going?
I'm good. Good evening. How are we, guys?
Very good, thanks. But we're also joined tonight by the one and only Ryan Stevenson. Ryan, how's it going?
All good, mate. All good. Yep, can't complain.
We've obviously got Ryan on, Mick, because huge game at the weekend. Hearts versus Rangers.
I forget to get the weekend. I'm glad to see Ryan. I want to get this game of golf sorted with Ryan. He's been hiding.
Anytime, mate. Anytime.
We need to get this golf challenge on the go. We've been hiding all summer. We're running out of time.
My handicaps went back up to 18, though. That's the only thing.
Oh, listen, I'm not wearing a mask in the golf course with looking numbers.
If I could interrupt the golf hour, guys, it's Rangers versus Hearts at the weekend, and who better to talk about it than a former Hearts striker? We were just saying off air, 2014 is the last time Hearts managed to win at Ibrox. Osman Sow scored the winner that day. It was back in the Championship as well. Yep. 19 times Hearts have been to Ibrox and failed to win. But this game, I don't know about you guys, but I think it feels a wee bit different.
I'm trying not to jinx it because the last time we'd done this, I think me and Michael done the column for the paper, and I was banging on that this was the time that we were going to break the duck, and we get spanked 5-0. So listen, I think there's a massive opportunity there this time. I think with the new manager, I've obviously banged the drum about him coming in for the last couple of seasons. So I think Hearts are a different animal now. And on the back of beating Livingston 2-1, the way they did beat them, having a bit of time off, and then getting into this game, I think it's all set up to be an absolute cracker.
Would you think? I agree with Ryan. I think it's going to be goals galore. And I don't know how I see it going. Like I say, on one hand, I think Hearts look really strong. Rangers have been wounded, but they've got new players coming in as well. You don't know how they're going to react.
I think it's fascinating. I think what Hearts will have under Derek, obviously they'll have a game plan. Having watched Rangers this season domestically, they'll know exactly how to kind of get under Rangers' skin and frustrate them and kind of getting a little bit. I mean, listen, there's going to be a bit of tension there still as well. Not won a game in the league yet, Rangers. So they're under serious pressure. They're still talking. I mean, even now, I know the game against Celtic, they bought himself time, Russell Martin. There's even talk that if he doesn't win this game, he's going to be in the sugar peg again. So they're under serious pressure, and I think it's the worst possible game for Rangers because I think McInnes will have some sort of plan to frustrate and get that crowd turning again. I mean, I think that Hearts game that Ryan's mentioned, the early goal is crucial. If they can avoid going behind the early, that tension is going to get cranked up minute by minute. Get to half time and it's goalless. You know there's going to be grumbles. I mean, and you can play on that, can't they?
I can tell you exactly how that team talk will go, and it'll literally be, let's get to 25 to 30 minutes, and this place will implode.
Yeah,
and it will do. I think just the full attitude and the sort of vibe round about Rangers just now. If Hearts can get to half an hour to 35 minutes without conceding a goal, without conceding any glaring chances, I honestly think that it'll just turn into absolute chaos in there. And that's exactly what Dell will be saying to them.
We've got some comments coming in. If you're watching at home, please let us know your thoughts. We'll try and read them out. Craig in the comments says, it's good to see Ryan on the show. Thought he was a great player with Hearts. This one, John, says the first goal is crucial. If Hearts get it, it will be an angry Ibrox. But Mark says, you're completely wrong, chaps. 99% certain Hearts will do the usual capitulation. So,
that's a fair point as well, because as much as I'm sitting here saying Hearts have been doing well and this and that, and we can say all we want about Hearts, but 2014 is the last time that they've went to Ibrox and won. So, and Rangers, listen, don't get away from it. Rangers have got good players, but I just think that under Derek, I think there's no better manager in Scotland to have a game plan, to have his players. I said it in my column this week. I think right for the start, as in getting off the bus, he'll have been in the players' ears. Make sure when you walk off this bus and you go through the doors that you walk off with a swagger. When you get into the warm-up, make sure you get in the warm-up. And if any of the Rangers players catch your eyes in the warm-up, they think, oh no. And it puts them on the back foot. I just think he could be the manager to get us that victory.
I think How do you think he will? I mean, I'm assuming that they're talking about keeping it tight for the first half and they'll let the tension build and all that stuff. But see, getting Hearts, would you be tempted to kind of go, this Rangers defence has been creaky all season, under pressure that, I mean, listen, we've seen Alaba creating chances against them. Mullow, Dundee, his team. Is there a case to say, get at them early and try and put them more, or do you try and be cagey about it? How do you think that you could go about it?
No, I wouldn't just be going there and sitting in. I think what Derek will do, and I think he said it against after the win against Livingston, was they have to get back to clean sheets. But that doesn't just mean parking the bus. I think they'll still look to get the ball wide. I think they'll look to get the ball in the box, because I think even getting the ball wide and getting the ball in the box, and there've been crosses coming in the box, the Rangers fans will get antsy at that anyway, regardless if it's a good cross or a bad cross. Just get it wide, get it in the box, ask questions of the defence. Mate, you go back to this all about playing football and that, can you turn them? Can you get the centre half running back towards their own goals? Because if they're running back towards their own goals and they put it out for a throw in, the fans get a bit anxious again. And it's all these things, mate, that I think that I think they'll look to do. But ultimately what I think the staple point of it will be, let's try and keep it as long as possible without any chances or obviously conceding a goal.
I mean, look, I don't want to single anyone out. Obviously, the Rangers haven't had a great start to the season, but particularly if Giga plays as well. If I was a Hearts striker, I mean, you've been a striker, Ryan, I would fancy my chances going up against him. He looks like a bag of nerves every time he plays.
Well, I mean, obviously, anytime I played up front, if there was somebody that was maybe going through a bad patch, all you would do is just hang on that guy. Aye. And you would say to the guys, just put it on his head, put it round about him, clatter him a couple of times. Obviously, I never really had pace to run away from MD, so I had to sort of get clattered in about people, but it just makes the defender a bit edgy. It puts them on the back foot a wee bit. What you don't want to do is let these guys grow into a game where everything's a bit comfortable. That's why so many people would probably see me and I'm running a bit like a headless chicken, but it was because I wanted to put the centre halves under as much pressure as I could. And I think that's what Hearts will do. I think Hearts will need to get in, run about them. I think if Lawrence is up there, can they get somebody in round about Lawrence that can do that? Because I don't really think that's Lawrence's game. But on the other side of that is then get it wide, get it in the box, because you know if that is the case and it comes in the box, you've got one guy there who is more than capable of scoring, not even a half chance, a quarter chance, and he can score.
Well, I mean, I know we're actually, for everyone watching, we're keeping Ryan from coaching right now, from
That's
helping
fine.
out. So before we let you get back to that, I guess what's your prediction? Is Derek McInnes finally going to get that elusive win at Ibrox?
I think I've said that again. I said it in my column, was everybody will think I'm Dell's love child here, but I do, mate. I just feel. Listen, Hearts' gain is the fact that Derek McInnes is the Hearts manager just now. I banged the drum about Rangers, and I think he'd have been a good fit for Rangers. I just think in these games, he'd done it with Kilmarnock. He get really good results against Rangers with Kilmarnock. I think when it comes down to these big games, touching wood, he usually has a number on it. And I just think, I think they will win. I genuinely do. But I think in the overall thing, it's just great for Scottish football, because if you're a Rangers fan, you're a bit nervous, but you're looking forward to it. If you're a Hearts fan, you're buzzing getting into it. And it's just made up to be a cracking game.
Well, how do you see it going, Mick?
I genuinely think it's a difficult one to predict. Exactly. Because Rangers domestically have been pretty woeful. I mean, even the game against Celtic, I didn't think they were any great shakes. I think fans were relieved that they weren't as bad as they had been in other games. They still don't won a game yet. I think they look defensively a bit frail. But when there's players in that Rangers team, when they've spent obviously money in the window, they've now got a kind of 13, 14 million pound front line. So they're going to be dangerous. I think Rangers have always got the ability to create chances and score goals. It's their back line, I think, is dodgy. And I think Hearts will have a game plan to frustrate them. And I just think it's really interesting. I could see it being quite a narrow game anyway. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's another draw. I mean, Rangers had 4 draws in the bounce. I wouldn't be surprised by another one. And that's not going to appease. That won't appease anyone. I know I'm sitting in the fence here.
Come on.
Listen, Steve-O, I am literally the worst tipster in the absolute world. Honestly, I've had a coupon up since 2014.
Well, hit us with a score, Mick. How do you think it will go? 2-2, 1-1?
I'll go nothing each. That'll go with nothing each.
There's a shock.
And the Rangers fans will be booing the place down again.
What do you think, Ryan? Give us a score before we let you go.
I think it'll be tight. It'll be 1-0, 2-1. I think I don't think there'll be a lot of. It wouldn't be like a 2-0 or a 3-0. I'm saying that if Hearts are to win, I think it would be close.
Ryan, it's always a pleasure having you in the Hotline Live. Much appreciated, mate. I hope it's a cracker for you at the weekend as well. But thanks for coming on tonight.
Cheers, mate. See you later on.
Cheers, Ryan.
See you guys. Bye-bye. Bye.
Ryan Stevenson there, Mick. Obviously, we're talking mainly about Hearts there, but obviously, huge game for Rangers as well. Plenty of comments coming in on that too. Berzuno simply says a draw is a disaster for Rangers. And this one as well from... Oh, this one actually from Dennis says, Michael, Rangers' defence on Saturday will be totally different to the Alava game. Tav, Suter, Cornelius and Magoma. And Mark says, if Rangers lose and Celtic win, God help Russell Martin, the fans will revolt. It is absolutely massive for Russell Martin. I know he got through to the international break, but it's not really got much pressure off him, is he?
No, you're kind of low to say must win at this stage. I mean, it's still only September, but after start of the season, I mean, the gap's already there at 6 points to Hearts and Celtic. If they go 9 points behind Hearts on this stage, if Hearts can get a result, I mean, the pressure is going to be off the scale. So he does need to get a win. So there's going to be some new faces. What I would say, Rangers, there are a lot of guys that have been away on international duty have had a good experience of it. I mean, you look at the boys in Norway, as Asgard scoring 4 goals, was it? Yeah. Cornelius scored an absolute belter, a free kick for Canada. I've seen that one. So there's a few guys that are coming back, probably feeling quite good. So that might be the wee break might have done something good, I think. But it just remains to be seen. It's all got to gel very, very quickly for Rangers. We haven't seen that yet. There's been, when I say the performances in the league so far have been pretty woeful. It's got to click. I mean, I think this is one that I think just get any kind of win. Performance secondary, result first, and then give the manager a bit of breathing space and something to build on. Because otherwise, even a draw, I think would be another problem. And then obviously they've got the cup the following week with Hibs.
Sure, another huge game now.
So it's a really, really, really kind of difficult and important time. If Russell Martin can come through these 2 games with 2 wins, the world's a different looking place. The garden's all rosy again for the time being. If he doesn't, it's going to be the other extreme. Rangers fans haven't really been sold. They didn't particularly want them in the first place. They've been kind of proved right since then. I still think he needs a bit of time. I think the European exit was horrific. One of those kind of so damaging, that kind of result. But they did get through the Celtic game with a bit of kind of dignity intact. And I think now it's trying to build and progress. But it's close to a must-win as it gets, I think.
Well, I mean, in the comments, and again, if you're watching, get involved in the conversation. No trophies in the comments says 5 games in, he needs more time. But Peter writes in saying Saturday's game with Hearts this early in the season is a must-win. Russell Martin's put so much pressure on it. If Hearts were to win, it wouldn't be down to McInnes's managerial prowess. There you go. But Martin being inept. We said in the show last night, Mick, or Keith Jackson rather, said that if Rangers fail to win, even a draw, it could be the end of Martin at Rangers and potentially Kevin Thelwell as well. If that comes about, are Rangers really going to sack a guy 5 games into a season?
Well, you look at the comments from Thelwell a couple of weeks ago now. I mean, the full backing behind the manager. Listen, I get that's very that can be quite fleeting. I mean, we've had this the old vote of confidence thing, isn't it? It used to be the old cliche in sport. You get the chairman gives a vote of confidence, and you pack your bags the next day sometimes. So it is results dependent. So yeah, I think the pressure would be. I think it is. I think he does need a bit of time, but like I say, there wasn't much leeway given when he came in, and they've not been proved. There's nothing to show to prove to the contrary yet. So another damaging result would have a major effect. And I know that I'm contradicting myself a wee bit. I don't think that the manager, despite those comments from Thelwell, I don't think he is bomb-proof. Because I mean, we've seen in the past that the 49ers and American owners can make quick decisions or influence quick decisions. I think we saw it at Leeds when they were kind of the minority shareholders. There was an influence there as well when was it Garcia get emptied after about 12 games.
Yeah.
after a bit of a kind of dispute over the Jesse Marsh departure, I think it was.
Yeah.
But then obviously before they took full charge after that anyway. But I just think, I think, yeah, at some point, the punters need to see something. They need to see a spark of life in this Rangers team. So there's a lot of new faces, a lot of guys coming back. They've had a chance to hit the reset button, and now it's time to kick on.
In the comments, as you can see there, Ian says Rangers must win 100%. Mark says, with the Rangers players doing so in an international duty, what does it say about Russell Martin coaching and tactics if they don't win again? Scott in Berlin says, no way are they firing them. The 49ers and Red Bull deal will be our league winning dream come true. Craig Rowan, a Hearts fan, says, if Hearts actually break their Ibrox hoodoo, I believe we can do something this season. Craigie reminds me Daniel Ten Hag gets sacked after 2 weeks. But John says they can't keep sacking managers, though. And that's where I was coming from, Mick. Like, I get it's been a million miles from where Rangers fans want it. But 5 league games, you're really going to bin someone off after 5 league games? Where he hasn't lost yet? I know he's not won, but
listen, see this excuse they can't keep sacking managers. That doesn't wash. When it's like, I think I said that on one of the other shows. It's the old Japanese proverb: if you get on the wrong train, you have to go off at the first available station, because otherwise the return trip costs too much money. So it doesn't hold that kind of. Well, you just can't see. So we just stuck with a guy who's not performing because he can't keep sacking managers. That's a kind of. It's one of the great fallacies in football. Like you can quite clearly sack managers, and a lot of clubs do. Some of them very quickly. But I do think he needs a wee bit more time. With so many new faces that have come in, it was always going to be a bumpy ride at first. Maybe not quite as bumpy. I still think that Rangers should have enough to beat the teams they've played so far. Because listen, the start they had in the league up to the Celtic game, I don't think it was a particularly, I'm not saying a particularly difficult start, but it could have been harder. And they kind of made a mess of it. So it's put them under a lot of pressure. There should be enough in their quality in that team to deal with these kind of sides in the league, and even Hearts as well. And for all, I think Hearts have had a good start. They've had a few results that they've sneaked either way. Last minute goals against United and against Livy. They've kind of pulled a few results out the hat. I saw them at St Mirren in the cup, and they were pretty poor that day. They had a really bad first half, and they slightly better beyond that, but not great. Mm-hmm. And they're also early stages of a kind of a new revolution as well. It's just they're going to provide a really stiff test. Rangers should have enough to beat Hearts, and if they don't, there's going to be hell to pay. It's as simple as that.
And we've got, I put a picture up earlier, but Derek McInnes is the Premiership Manager of the Month. Mm-hmm. A lot of people might be saying that this is his audition to the 49ers to become Russell Martin's replacement, and I know Hearts fans will loathe me saying that. But it doesn't seem that far-fetched to me, Mick. I don't know what you think.
No, but I think they need to let Derek McInnes do. He's got a good job at Hearts. I think people need to let him get on with his job. I mean, I think that's never going to go away. And the better he does it, if he keeps doing well at Hearts, it's going to be hanging over Ibrox as well, because if it's not going well at Rangers. But I think he's just got to let him get on with it. It's very early days at Hearts. I mean, we're only 4 games in. I think he needs time to build a consistent period of decent success at Hearts. I think he will. But yeah, it's always going to be there, isn't it? It's just slightly unfortunate, but I would be more inclined to let him go on with a big job.
Aye. Gary in the comments just before we round off on Rangers points out, makes a good point. If Nico Raskin isn't back in the team, this will spark some atmosphere in Ibrox on Saturday. We had the story, Record Sport Online today, that apparently there has been talks. He's been welcomed back into the fold. That can only be a good thing, can't it? I mean, arguably their best players last season.
Yeah, but this is a situation that's going to be awkward. I mean, because the start of the season, Raskin's been moved out of his normal position, really, kind of like a slightly wider kind of role, hasn't he? Not working great, not being in the team. Listen, he's completely out of the squad, and against Celtic, looked as though he'd been. I must admit, I was surprised that he's coming back. I thought that would be it. Mm-hmm. For other reasons, that whether the right bids haven't come in or the right options that he fancies haven't come in, so he's coming back, and they're going to need to make peace with the manager. He's going to need to fall in line with the manager. He might not get on with Russell Martin. He might not rate him, but he's the manager, and if he's going to be playing, he's going to have to fall in line. And listen, we've seen. Listen, this time last year, Philip Clement wasn't picking him. We heard Neil McCann saying that he's a handful, question everything. A bit of a pain in the backside, it sounds like. And now Russell Martin having a problem with him. He's thought he'd been challenged by him as well. So, listen, I think that's fair enough. I think I quite like those kind of characters in football. I think you need players that will speak their mind and be big characters. But at some point, if you're going to play for a team, you need to fall in line with the manager. Otherwise, there's only going to be one winner. He'll be in the stands every week. It's a World Cup year, so he's now got, well, at least till January, to say, right, okay, I'm buttoning it up. I'm going to head down. I'm going to show this guy actually play in my own position rather than out here, and I'm going to be a driving force for this team. If he's going to question and be disruptive, he's going to be sitting in the stand holding a pie, watching the games like the rest of them. So it's up to him. I think the manager it's a difficult one for him because you want to keep your best players on side, but you can't have a disruptive element in the dressing room. So he's got to be firm, and Raskin's got to play himself back into the affections of his gaffer and in the team.
Aye. Away from Rangers, Mick, Celtic are obviously Rugby Park this weekend. Obviously,
all quiet at Celtic this weekend.
Well, I was going to say, look, Rugby Park has been the scene of various different Celtic title parties over the years. So you can see some images. I think it's going to be a decidedly different mood this Sunday. There's talk of the Celtic fans launching a pre-match protest to turn up late for kickoff. Either way, Mick, whatever happens, whatever the result is, it's going to be absolutely fascinating.
It is. Listen, it now looks like this kind of civil war that's kind of broken out between the Celtic support and the club's board. I mean, sometimes you think that time's a good healer, and at some point it'll start to kind of the anger will start to fade, and it'll start to kind of a few wins in the board and things are kind of forgotten about for a while. I get the impression that this is not going to be that kind of situation. I think even a couple of wins isn't going to kind of release that pressure valve in terms of the rift between the fans and the clubs.
It feels deeper, doesn't it, Mick? It feels quite ingrained.
This has been building up for a while, and I think it might. You sometimes there's a kind of gap between the kind of online noise and the reality, and sometimes it's not quite the same. I think the vast majority of football fans just want to go to the game, support their team, get up the road, right? They might get angry, they'll shout on a Saturday night and argue with their pals over a pint or whatever, and get up the road, and that's it. And then repeat to fade the next week. You get the online community and they build up, and they have built some momentum up. They've had meetings, and the sports associations have written letters, and they've had votes of no confidence. And now they're going to escalate the protests. So it's gathered momentum. And the problem is for Celtic's kind of board is that in probably 2 weeks' time, they're going to release their annual statement, financial results, and it's going to have a big pile of money sitting there. And this pile of money is the problem. It's the elephant in the room. It is having that big pile of cash and not getting used to strengthen the team sufficiently, according to fans, is the problem.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, we've got another 80 million quid sitting there. And fans are going to say that they're out of the Champions League. The squad hasn't been sufficiently strengthened. There's been no progress in 3 years on the pitch. And that money, and whether it's right or not, fans are now saying, we're paying £700, £800 a season for season tickets. We're buying the strips. We're buying all the stuff you keep flogging us. We're buying the packages for Europe. We're buying the cup tickets because they're not included. And we're not getting value for our money because that money is sitting there. And whether it's not their money, right, but they have contributed to that pot to a great degree. I mean, the Champions League tickets, the season tickets, all the stuff, all the money, half the money that goes into the Celtic is from the fans' pockets. And they're thinking, what is going on? Why is this money not getting used to maximise the potential of the club? So I get the anger because people are getting, the ones I've spoken to are fed up and they're saying, right, enough's enough. I'm not giving them any more money. There's £80 million sitting there doing nothing. And then to smack, the last smack in the chops was they're getting told that money is irrelevant. That was the phrase that was used. That money's irrelevant because of UEFA regulation. I mean, come on. The most ill-advised statement in history, really, was a slap across the chops. I still think they could have diffused it. I think the anger was going to be there because of that money. But the statement just is literally just took it to another level. So punters are. It's all right saying the club statement basically saying we know better. Things are difficult. Tried our best. Didn't work out. You need to get on with it. But I mean, kind of brushing it off a wee bit, making kind of daft excuses. Punters are out of pocket. I mean, they spend money on this team. So I get, and listen, I think some of it can get a bit out of hand. I think a lot of it snowballed because of the online echo chambers and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of fans at other clubs were thinking, what are they all fighting about? I mean, they won everything. But I can appreciate why fans are upset, because they're seeing their bank account getting emptied on a regular basis, and they're not getting value for money. That's the way they see it.
Aye, no, I couldn't agree more. Marzuno makes a good point. He says, if they think cash is so useless, why don't they just half the season ticket prices?
I'm telling you, this money has become an absolute noose around Celtic. I mean, you could say they've been too successful, right? That sounds daft. The diamond shoes are too tight, but this money is hanging over the club. I mean, listen, I remember a couple of years ago, I was in Rotterdam for the Champions League game, and we were doing a press conference with Celtic. And they put out the financial. We knew they were imminent, but they put them out during the press conference, right? So obviously people's minds were on the game against Feyenoord in the Champions League. And that summer was a bad window. And they went to Rotterdam with, I think, Odin Holm played that night. And yeah. So they went with a slightly weakened side, and then the fans weren't happy. And they sneaked out the best ever financial results in the club's history. I mean, most clubs we got that big fanfares. Look, we've got to get 75 million quid in the bank. They sneaked it out, right? And that shows that there's almost a wee bit of embarrassment having that much money. But that money's now been sitting there for 2 or 3 seasons. And it is absolutely weighing down on everything Celtic do. Because fans going, why is this money not getting spent on the team, on the ground, on giving reduced price tickets? Anything, why is the money that we've handed in over not getting used? I mean, I think that's I don't think anyone's expecting Celtic to go and spend £50 million on 5 players in the summer and spend all the money in one whack. Nobody in their right mind is expecting that. But they want to see it spent quicker and more smartly than it has been. And they certainly don't want it sitting there growing by the season.
I think you're right. They just want the players that are sold, Mick, replaced. And like you said,
you're not going to replace those players.
I don't mean like for like, but I mean,
you're not going to replace Matt O'Reilly, £25 million Matt O'Reilly, with another £25 million player. You have to replace it with a player who could be the next Matt O'Reilly. So you're not going to replace these. Finding replacements is a bit of a myth as well. It's finding good players that can be those guys next. And the problem is the recruitment department has kind of grind to a halt in the last kind of 3 or 4 or 5 windows, that they haven't really unearthed the next Matt O'Reilly, the next Kyogo, the next Kuhn. The ones they brought in haven't been up to scratch, really. So for whatever reason, the recruitment side has kind of stumbled in the last, probably since 2022. There's probably been about 35 players getting signed. How many of them are actually probably good enough to be in the team, let alone be sold for 20 million quid? When I think who's the last big asset or asset they've developed? Alistair Johnson, maybe Callum Carter-Vickers. They're going back 2 or 3 years of the recent influx. Kuhn was one of them, but he's been sold already. So, and they've also brought in another couple of guys this year. Jury's going to be out on these guys. A lot of pressure on these guys to hit the ground running because of this replacement narrative. They're not going to get replacements for those guys. But I think Celtic fans are expecting a higher level of player to come in that's at least on that trajectory, and not enough of those players kind of been in that kind of mould.
Aye.
So it's a kind of malfunction, and it's not buying players quick enough, not getting the right ones in, and sitting on this big pile of cash, which has now become the old albatross type thing, isn't it?
And the comments they're coming in on this, as you'd imagine, Mick, a lot of
Darren's talking nonsense, probably.
Mark says, we sold Kyogo for £10 million. Is it so much to expect the money be reinvested? Rebel says, we replaced Jota with Jota, Mick.
Yeah.
This Scotland the Brave says, can I ask Mick, does he honestly believe Celtic aren't spending because they know they have enough to dominate Scotland, or are they really keeping it for a rainy day? Do you want to come back on that, Mick? Or?
Listen, the rainy day argument's been used for a while, this money. But I don't understand. I mean, the rainy day is not qualifying for the Champions League. But if there's a hole in the roof and you fix it so you don't get rain in the house. You don't let the house get soaked because you're creating your own rainy day. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, exactly.
Celtic have actually managed, by not investing this money early enough, they've actually managed to create their own rainy day. So they go, well, we didn't call by Champions League, we need that money now. Well, if you spent another few quid before this game the other week, when you were in woefully ill prepared, then you wouldn't need to worry about rainy days. So I don't quite understand. I think Celtic, I mean, my own personal theory is I think Celtic have good intentions to spend the money. They have spent money in the past. I think there's a lot to be, they're bargaining for whatever reason. There's a lot to be desired. Speaking to guys who have been nursery at the table, I think the quest to maximise their own value has been misguided, because Celtic drive the hardest bargains when they're selling players, but don't expect other clubs to do the same. So you're wanting to charge £3 million for Yang, who's surplus to requirements, but you take an extra fortnight to get up from £3 million to buy Janetke. So it can't work both ways. You can't hold out for £6-7 million for Adam Ida and not spend that money on the striker who they need to replace him. So there needs to be a better strategy when it comes to negotiating transfers. I mean, Celtic in that statement, which I thought was one of the wildest parts of it, basically said, well, clubs want to maximise their value for the player by waiting longer in the window, and players want to hang on longer because they might get more in wages, and that takes it out of their Celtic's ability to make the deal. You're like, well, if you know they want to wait longer to make more money, why would you wait then? So you're going to cost yourself more money. So you're almost contradicting themselves in the statement. Yeah. So if you know that they're waiting to cost you more money, then why would you wait? Get in early, be decisive. It's all part of it. They need to go in with your 5 options for your wide man. Go in with your budget where you want to spend in it, and get one of them done early enough that they can be in the team and make a difference. Because the pyramid for Celtic isn't that narrow. When you look at, if you're a Man City or I've put this before, Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid, there's maybe only about 25 players in the world that they can sign, right? And that's why their fees are 100 million plus, because there's a wee small part top of the pyramid. Celtic are like a £5 to £10 million, or there should be bracket. There's hundreds of these players, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Get in, find out what the fee's going to be, find out the wage going to be before they even get on the table. None of this low balling guys in July. They're not going to get a deal done in July when you're low balling. You have to be decisive. And yeah, it might cost them a few more quid, but Celtic are so good at negotiating on the other side, they'll get it back eventually.
Aye.
I just think the strategy has gone a bit haywire. Quite why, we don't know, because that's where the transparency part comes in and say, well, who is responsible for this? Is it certain guys who are negotiating and making a mess of it? Is that becoming from above? Because they're given parameters to work from that are almost impossible. I think that could be. Personally, I think that may be part of the problem. Mm-hmm. But at some point, they're going to need to shift away from this kind of way of working, because it's backfired now 2, 3, 4 windows in a row, and it's left the team short, and it's now brought on the rain.
I mean, I was reading out a couple of comments there. Let me finish off with them. 1980 says Celtic players and Brendan screwed up against Kairat. It's not the board's fault. Players and management, please stand up. He says stop blaming the board for not beating Kairat Almaty.
I agree with that to an extent as well. We should have beat Kairat Almaty, but you can't say when the manager and the club captain are saying for weeks they need strengthening in attacking areas. If they then go and play 210 minutes against a team who just want to defend for the whole time and try and get the penalty kicks because they haven't got the attacking options that they've been crying out for. Yeah. So, I mean, I agree. I think Celtic should have had enough to beat Kairat. But I also can see that you can't be saying we need attacking options here or we're going to struggle, and then they go and struggle to score a goal. So they were underprepared for that game. And then obviously 2 wingers check in after the game when the ship is sailed over the horizon and being torpedoed. So it didn't make any sense. And to save 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million quid, it's cost them 40 million quid. And it's going to cost them more because fans are now going to say, well, you know what? You didn't treat Europe seriously, so why am I going to pony up to go and watch the Europa League?
Exactly. Aye.
And that's the argument, and I can understand it. I still think a lot of fans will say, you know what, I want to go see my team playing football, and I'll deal with that stuff down the line. But I can understand why, if you're saying, right, time to pony up for your 4-match package, you go, well, you know what? No thanks. I'm not bothering.
Charlie Mack says, financially, the board have done well. Football-wise, they're atrocious. David Gillespie says, packing themselves for great numbers. Unfortunately, taking the eye off the ball, not looking at the big picture. Marzuno says, Rodgers has to be careful. The lines have been drawn. He doesn't want to be the board's puppet. And we haven't talked about this yet, Mick, but John sums it up well, saying the Brendan Rodgers presser will be box office. It will be interesting to see how he handles it. That's obviously tomorrow. It could be box office, couldn't it? It could be an absolute belter of a press conference.
Well, I mean, I feel a bit for Brendan Rodgers because he literally now he can't win. So I mean, if he nails his, if he plants his flag on the side of the fans and said, "I wanted this, I didn't get it, it wasn't good enough," and if he comes out and is critical and kind of backs the kind of fan stance, his employers are going to be absolutely fuming. If he goes the other way and says, "Well, listen, understand, it's not been easy. The board did their best and all that stuff. We need to just get on with it," I think the fans are going to go, "Well, if you're in with that lot, we're now standing against." So he is literally stuck in a horrible situation. I mean, he's just got to pick up the pieces and try and get the best out of the situation. I don't envy. I think he is the most. And listen, having dealt with loads of managers, 20 odd years in this game, he's probably the most skilled in the media side of things of any manager I've seen. I mean, he's really adept at kind of negotiating certain minefields and questions that you throw and make an answer at anything. And I think tomorrow is going to test that to the limit, because I don't think he will go guns blazing. And listen, there's also the issue of obviously last weekend there's stories about club insiders saying that Rodgers has tore the club apart with his comments over the summer and he's engineering his exit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not been refuted by any point or by the club either. So that's hanging over him as well. So I mean, he mentioned a wee joke, didn't he, a few weeks ago at Pataudry about some people don't want me in this job, and you think, is that from inside his own walls? Who knows? We don't know. He is going to be getting lobbed live grenades tomorrow, and listen, if anyone can chest him down and volley it away, it's him, and he probably will. And I think he will do it tomorrow. I think we'll see a masterclass in avoiding major issues, but it's going to be difficult for him because it is now. It's almost like the battle lines have been drawn between the club's board and the supporters. I mean, the club's statement did not say, "Listen, made a mess of it, we're sorry." It said, "Well, we tried. This is why it didn't work. This is the way it is." I mean,
yeah,
deal with it. And the punters have gone tonto. So he's got to try and negotiate a path down the line in the middle of this. And if anyone can do it, it'll be him, right enough. But I don't envy him. Attempting it.
Stephen in the comments points out Brendan has had plenty of time to prepare for the presser tomorrow. And Mark wants to know, Mick, who's going from the records? Is it yourself or?
It's myself. Aye. I need to throw a few in there. Like I say, listen, he's used to it. I've been dealing with it. It's now the second spell I've been working, seeing his press conference with Brendan Rodgers, and I was at the Terminado one the first time round. Mm-hmm. So I'm a veteran of these things. It'll be interesting to see how he plays it. Because also, you've got to remember, he's also been undermined. He said 2 days before the window shut, we can't sell Adamida without a replacement. They get sold without a replacement. They end up having to go around and on the day after transfer deadline, they're looking for free agents. So, he was kind of undermined in that respect. Then you also get the story before that. You get the Dyson Maeda situation, having been blocked a move. When the club are saying they can't stand in the guy's way, but it's all about having a replacement. So he couldn't go because of the no replacements were brought in time. So how's that going to play out? I mean, it's if Brendan Rodgers can get through tomorrow and manage to keep everyone happy, they'll be taking that video footage and showing it on coaching courses for the next 10 years, honestly. Good luck to them.
Aye, definitely. It's weird. I mean, with Celtic, it feels like they've gone from so comfortable, everything at the tip of their fingers, potentially going for another treble, progressing in the Champions League, in a space of a couple of weeks, now worried about getting embarrassed in the Europa League. It's crazy, but
it does seem all a bit self-inflicted. I mean, listen, listen, it happens. As somebody who's a bit of a historical geek, empires rise and fall, and usually it's self-inflicted damage that does it. As I said before, at some point, with a guy in the Roman Empire sitting in a hot spring bath, thinking this is quality, life is much better, and then about 100 years later, he's washing his pants down the stream again. So it does happen.
That's a good image for you guys watching at home, definitely. We need to move on from Celtic. We're running out of time. I've got people sending in questions for you, Mick. They're actually saying, ask him this, ask him this.
Questions, so get them sent to me. Package them up and send them to me.
In other matches this weekend, we have to touch on before we finish. There's the fixtures for the Premiership. Hibs Dundee United is the other one that stands out to me under the floodlights. Jim Goodwin signed a new deal today, Mick, at Dundee United. I don't know what it is about Jim Goodwin, but I've got no affiliation to Dundee United or him, but I feel really happy he's done well there after such a bruising time at Aberdeen.
Yeah, a good manager. I mean, seen it at St Mirren as well. I mean, a good operator, good eye for a player. Just knows what he's doing. He's done really well. United hasn't all been gone his own way, but he's stuck with it and he's done a really good job. It's a cracking game, isn't it? Hibs United, two sides, two are bigger clubs and both doing really well. Listen, United have won a watch with Jim Goodwin, I think. It makes sense to get him tied up on a deal. As well, so he's a top asset. I think United will be absolutely fine this season. That
other one I keep saying, Mick, is Falkirk St Mirren. I think will be a cracker. I think that'll be a really good game of football. But Aberdeen Livy is the one that jumps out to me. Aberdeen still without a win. I know they signed really well, particularly on deadline day. But Jimmy Teelan, I suspect if he doesn't get a win in that game at home to Livingston, he could be under a lot of pressure. And Livy are very tricky opponents.
That's a good game as well, because that must be one of the first times ever you've got two sets of brothers squaring up, because you'll have the Shinney brothers, Andrew and Graham, and also the Yengi brothers as well.
All right, okay.
Two sets of brothers squaring up as well, and but then also and Jimmy Teelan, he's got to start winning games. I mean, if he doesn't win this one, he's going to be under serious bother. He's been back, like you said, in the window. I think Aberdeen's late wee flurry on deadline day was one that everyone thought, oh, that's a good bit of business. I mean, Stuart Armstrong looks a great bit of business. I like the sound of the lad from Bologna.
Yeah.
Yes, McAllister. I keep calling him Casper Jed. I mean, I keep calling him Casper. Casper and Carlson. Look at his profile. It looks a cracker. I mean, I see his comments, and obviously the managers are the big influence in him coming to the club. So yeah, I think but he's been backed. His record in the league going back to last November is horrendous.
I think it's 5 wins and 31, Mick.
I think it's something like that. Aye, I mean, a bad one before the break as well. So he needs to get back with a bang. Because I think the Scottish Cup buys you a lot. It'll buy him a few pints in Aberdeen for sure. That's for right. The rest of his life. But it's starting to fade a wee bit from memory. I mean, it is now. We're now in September. The league table's looking a bit grim. They need to get up and running. He's been backed. He's got players that look the part. They need to do business. Just need to do business.
Aye, absolutely. And whatever happens, we'll be here at Record Sport to cover it all. And on the Hotline Live, we'll be back on Sunday. But I think for now, that brings to an end tonight's show. Thank you so much for all the comments. The comments have been particularly brilliant tonight, so thank you very much. We rely on them. Mick, it's always been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
What do you know? Is this farewell?
It's always a pleasure having you. I mean, look, people saying in the comments it's an upgrade in Keith Jackson. That's not for me to say. You know,
that's just the looks. I don't know about content, but definitely in terms of looks.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck at the presser tomorrow.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'm also at Rugby Park on Sunday, so yeah, it'll be an interesting weekend. It's nice to get the old domestic game back. I mean, I'm glad Scotland did well, but back to the old meat and drink and blood and snorters. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for watching at home. As I say, we'll be back Sunday at 6. Hope you can join us then. Cheers.